and it looks like it's climbing clear up to the sky. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Oh, what a beautiful day.
You want my real name then?
Yes.
My name is Brian Alderman.
Well, I am Bernie Belisle.
I am Julia Cochran.
I am Caitlin Couch.
My name is Rachel Dupay.
My name is Megan Harris.
I am Isaac Hendricks.
I am Joanna.
My name is Tegan Hughes.
I am Caleb Julien.
My name is Crystal LaPlue.
My name is Brandon Lawrence.
My name is Josh Lieber.
I am Rachel Liebert.
My name is Grace Lowe.
Name is Austin Marsh.
I'm Lydia McNeil.
I am Shelby Metz.
My name is Caleb Morgan.
I'm Matt Redding.
I'm Alex Reese.
My name is Nathan Ryer.
I am Rebecca Runner.
I'm Chase Smith.
My name is Andrew Warren.
I am Lacey Ray Wheeler.
I'm Nicholas Wellbanks.
Most definitely the auction.
The Farmer and the Cowman.
All the songs, because they were really fun to dance to.
Would probably be Farmer and the Cowman. When Gertie comes back and her and Ado Annie kind of have it out.
It was probably Scandal when all the boys would go walking out because backstage all the girls would be having a dance party.
All or Nothing.
When Will first gets back and he's telling the whole town about all the things he did in Kansas City.
For Judd is Dead and Kansas City.
I'd say the dancing and the choreography.
Entering every night, singing Oh What a Beautiful Morning.
During the men's dance break in The Farmer and the Cowman, when Caleb would consistently make this face.
When Dream Curly kissed Dream Lori. The finale was kind of fun.
We insulted the Cowboys a lot. That was a fun thing. It was just a lot of dancing and singing, and I really enjoy those kinds of plays.
I don't know. Oh, I really didn't like the musical that much when we first started. The people that were in it that made me love it. Aunt Eller and her scene with the peddler in the beginning.
When I got to yell at Judd Fry, that whole scene from then into the engagement with Curly.
The Dream Ballet, just because it was so atypical, and it was honestly the part I look forward to the most.
Like Ado Annie's character was my favorite.
Kansas City. I think Kansas City was my favorite part of the whole thing.
The large group scenes where we were dancing like Farmer and the Cowman.
The finale, when we all sang Oklahoma.
Brandon and Rachel get to dance with each other, and it's before Judd comes out and she's like leaning on his chest and they do this cool lift that's really precious. And when the real Curly and Lori actually get engaged.
The Dream Ballet.
The Farmer and the Cowman. It's just a fun song to do.
Getting to act in it with former castmates of mine.
Getting my daughter to marry the right person.
The Dream Ballet. It was a lot more intense than I was expecting it to be.
The whole scene in Judd's smokehouse.
Not gonna let you, so shut up, as he like pushes him down. And
Lori Williams is my girl, and she just got me to ask her to marry her.
When Aunt Eller called the peddler a little wart.
Oh, I've got to figure out how to be a farmer now. He just kind of turns his life around.
And Aunt Eller would scream, the hussy.
I'm trying to get her from stop killing your wife, and the peddler says, mind your own business.
With Ali Hackham when he's talking about all the trouble he's gotten himself into.
And we'll be the horses, because it makes absolutely no sense.
There's times when women ain't got no need for men.
You feeble-minded shark poke.
Who the heck are you? Shut your face or I'll fill you so full of whatever. I don't remember, but it was so funny.
Well, that gave me a 3-day bellyache.
Curly leans over and says, good. What about Ado Annie? And Joe turns on and goes, well, not that one. And then Ali Hackham goes, well, I don't want her either, but I've got her.
Do not call me Aunt Eller. I am not your Aunt Eller. I am mad at you.
When I got to yell at Judd, that was really fun. I just got to like start shouting, and it was great.
Well, nothing. I know what to call you. You ain't purty enough for a skunk. You ain't skinny enough for a snake. You're too little to be a man, and you're too big to be a mouse. I reckon you're a rat.
Spit in his eye?
Why don't you look behind you, you crazy woman?
That she didn't care whether my character had actually been carrying on with other women, it would still make me feel funny.
I ain't good enough. Got dirt under my fingernails, got pig slop.
I'll shoot you so full of something that your behind will be so, I don't know, and you'll walk like a duck for the rest of your life or whatever.
You feeble-minded shack poke.
Her calling the peddler man a wart.
Lori gets him to ask her to marry him.
Shut your face or I'll fill your behind so full of buckshot you'll be walking around like a duck for the rest of your life.
I gotta get a quick kiss and it's gotta be quick or I'll jump in a creek and die.
I thought you was somebody.
Dancing with the guys to Many a New Day.
I don't have a lot of offstage memories because I wasn't backstage.
And we would all gather in a circle and pray together.
Work out the kinks that can't be worked on in a rehearsal backstage while others were going on.
Brian Alderman came running up to me freaking out because his cowboy boot was broken. So we had to sneak backstage and find safety pins, and then Caleb Julian came in and said, "Wow, I'm really glad I saw you. I was about to rip my pants off."
Many of the girls backstage danced to it, and it was so funny, especially Rachel Dupay and Rachel Liebert.
Dancing with the guys during the girls' song.
Rehearsals where everyone got a little slap happy at the end.
Every time Caitlin would run after Alex and she'd shoot the gun, and one night she tripped over the hay.
Every night during the Dream Ballet, before we actually entered, when the girls were all just singing, Brandon, myself, and then Rachel from across the stage would all kind of just do this little dance number every single night.
Let me just recite it to you. Don't let your tongue wobble around in my mouth.
All backstage did the stick dance. It's kind of like this.
Brian and I were dancing a lot backstage, and we taught Caleb Morgan how to dance too. We had him hit the whip.
All of the dance parties that happened backstage, like we would be on stage right, and then some of the guys would be on stage left, and we'd just be dancing to whatever was going on stage.
I guess just getting ready backstage with the other girls and all scrambling to get all of our hair done and our makeup done and panicking that we wouldn't get done in time.
We always danced really fun, like really crazily during the Dream Ballet when we were off stage.
On one of the sides of the stage, we would all start dancing just really weird. And
probably every night during It's a Scandal, when all the girls were backstage and they danced through the whole song.
I was backstage with Ali Hackham trying to help him figure out how he was going to do his money for an upcoming scene, and the curtain opened before I got out there, and I had to wait and just sort of jumping in the middle.
Dabbing. It was always like this. Backstage all the time, I promise you.
They would be dancing, and then I would be backstage dancing too, and then we'd all start dancing together. We looked like idiots, but it was really fun.
The terrible singing that we did behind in the auditorium when we were waiting for our cues, we would just sing along quite badly.
During Tech Week, to all be downstairs and to just congregate down there and lip sync with the other characters as they're on stage, and we all sang I Can't Say No all together downstage. That was lots and lots of fun.
Just, being able to talk with people off stage, getting to know them better on a deeper level, stuff like that.
I guess it was the last night when we were thinking of awkward things we could do to potentially spice up the show, and I had mentioned I have this shirt that the buttons come undone kind of easily, and I called it a stripper shirt, and so you could rip off the buttons, and I thought it would be funny comically if I was going to do something, I would, at the very last song when everyone's saying yow, that we would just rip the shirt off, and there I am in my undershirt.
Many a New Day, and then It's a Scandal, when the guys would be backstage dancing to Many a New Day, and then the girls would be backstage dancing to It's a Scandal, and watching you both do it was hilarious.
The dance that we all did.
So having rehearsal every single night in the midst of the other things going on was pretty crazy.
Coordinating the design and construction as well as the rehearsals.
All of the elements of the lines and the acting and the singing and the dancing, getting my songs and hitting all of the notes that I needed to and knowing how to control my voice.
Learning the dance moves because I have never been in a musical before.
Just remembering all the cues and dances.
Make it go smoothly since there was such a big cast. So there were so many people to try to get there all the time.
Training myself to be productive after 5 p.m. again.
Getting everything and putting it together at the end. Like everyone had the lines and everyone had the music and everyone had the dancing, but putting it together the week beforehand was tough, but I mean, we definitely got it together.
The singing, it was out of my comfort range. I am more of an actor than I am a singer, so I really had to just step out of my bubble.
Climbing up on the roof at the end for the cast picture.
To get over my pride and just be in the ensemble.
It's all the time that we put into it and the huge time commitment.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that there would be so much dancing in this, and when we first started the dance rehearsals, I thought this is never going to happen.
I think just the time and the energy that was put into it.
The dancing, just because there was so much of it, and then also having to sing while dancing and not be like out of breath the whole time.
Choral aspect of it because I'm not a singer.
Singing.
I'm used to just having lines and just acting and not really being much in the chorus at all.
The singing for me, I'm not a musical person.
Probably the choir rehearsals, because we had so many people who weren't necessarily in choir, so teaching them how to sing and then putting us all together to sound like a real choir was really hard.
The fact that a few of the cast members, it was their last production here.
Making sure that we were flexible with all the different directors.
The curtains. Just getting the curtains right.
The singing, definitely.
One night, Curly stepped on the pistol, and then Austin picked it up, and it actually fired as he was lifting it up to point it at her.
Working with the guns.
The first time Aunt Eller hooked the peddler with her cane around the neck, and he just started laughing. He had a lock on it, and I did not know you could lock the gun into the holster, and so I went to pull on it, and it wouldn't come out, and so I just stomped my foot, and I said, "Give it to me!" And he said, "No!"
When Caitlin couldn't get the gun from Austin, and she ended up just like, he was like, "No, you can't have that." Like,
everyone froze, and Brian Alderman froze like right in front of Shelby, like butt and face, about to fall on her. And it was just so funny because Shelby couldn't quit laughing.
That he was going to let your tongue wobble around in my mouth instead of wobbling around in his own mouth.
I wasn't even there for it, but everyone constantly was repeating Andrew's line with the tongue wagging around in my mouth.
Stomped the gun down, nothing happened, and as soon as Austin picked it up, it fired.
And as soon as he picks it up off the ground, fingers not even on the trigger, it fires. And he had this look on his face of and he just about shot my foot off.
The consistency of Caleb singing at the wrong place in The Farmer and the Cowman.
Gosh, which of them? Austin went to pick it back up and the gun went off and everybody thought that Aunt Eller shot somebody.
And Crystal came in really loudly on the Territory Folks Should Stick Together song. It was just like, "Territory folks!" And then she realized that it wasn't the right time to sing that line.
Austin's gun went off after Aunt Eller shoots the gun during Farmer and the Cowman, because Aunt Eller was like, "I should probably react to this, but I don't know how," and Austin was just like, "Ah!"
My favorite mistake had to be on opening night during Farmer and the Cowman. I always landed right in front of him. And sometimes my gun would end up between his legs, which would frighten him because he didn't want to get shot in a particular place, or I would land on the side. And then for some reason, he just felt the need to kick the gun out of my hand and slam it on the ground with his foot. Go back to pick it up. And right when I grab it, it fires on stage. Just goes off.
It's supposed to be every daughter has a father with a gun, but most of them would sing every father has a daughter with a gun.
I can't think of any, but I know there were.
When Matt Redding called Aunt Eller Lori, Aunt Lori, and then Aunt Eller got on to him in the show and told him, "You want to run that by me again?"
Screamed out when he was supposed to do one goodbye. One goodbye!
And then Austin picked it up and it shot off and it wasn't supposed to.
Now hold on. Don't let your tongue wobble around in my mouth.
And she tried yanking it out and it would not come out of Austin's holster. And she tried for like 30 seconds and we all just had to react and it was a blast.
Whenever the guns kept going off, whenever they weren't supposed to.
Don't let your tongue wobble around in my mouth. And that's kind of an interesting, terrible mistake to make.
Don't let your tongue wobble around in my mouth like that.
Oh, Will, you make up pretty things to say. But instead she said, oh, Allie, you do make up pretty things to say. To his credit, Will rolled with it and it worked out okay. They got back on track, but
I loved it. It was so much fun. I felt unbelievably white and out of rhythm, but it was a blast.
It was my first Brian production, and I thought it was a lot of fun, and I definitely would do it again.
And it was just very quirky and folky, and it was advanced enough for it to look like a good performance, but she broke it down easy enough for the non-dancers to be able to learn it.
And it was crazy, but it was really fun, and I really liked the square dancing scene. That was my favorite.
I think it was just so much fun.
It was fun. I was really bad at it at first. It took me a while to get it, but once I got it, it was a lot of fun.
I thought the dancing was great. I thought the choreography was inspired. But in all seriousness, I was really proud of everyone who worked really hard, especially those who hadn't danced before.
The choreography was really good. I was really shocked at what Joanna had us do, but it was a lot of fun.
There's a part of me that would be alright if it was my last, but I did end up having fun once we got the dances down.
It was not my first time dancing on stage, and I loved it.
Being in the Dream Ballet, I never really thought of myself as a ballerina, but I would like to think that I represented the title well.
And I loved it. I really love line dancing. Really was able to get into the spirit of it and hop around best I could.
I thought Joanna did an amazing job choreographing it all, and it was a little overwhelming at first trying to see how all of the big numbers would come together. But once they did, it was just so much fun it was just like a big party. Farmer and the Cowman was my favorite dance because we were supposed to be having a party, and once we learned the dance, it really was like one.
But this is the most hardcore dancing I've ever done in a show before. And for me, it was just some ballet here and there. I wish I had gotten to be in more dances since I didn't get to be in a lot of the big dance scenes. They looked like so much fun. Joanna did such a great job with them.
This production had the most dancing I'd ever been a part of, and that was a bit of a challenge to learn it all. And the great part about playing the idiot is that in Kansas City, my dancing still didn't have to be on par because the song and the choreography emphasized how bad of a dancer Will was anyway, so it worked out great.
I enjoyed the dancing in this one a lot. I liked the choreography, and I think it was really interesting because we pulled in a lot of different types of dance, and so it made it a lot more dynamic.
I enjoyed the dancing, even though it was really hard. I think it was really good. It was definitely a really good experience, especially the tap dancing.
I really enjoyed it. It was a lot different than any of the other dances I've done.
Bad guys don't dance. I was really impressed by it. I thought the Dream Ballet was really well done and loved watching it and stabbing people in it.
Joanna did a really good job with the choreography because it was fun to watch, but it wasn't too difficult for people who don't really know how to dance except for the dancing ensemble or whatever.
The dancing was a lot of fun. It was probably the most enjoyable part of this besides just working with everybody.
But this type of dancing was definitely new, but I enjoyed it a lot. It was quite fun.
The dancing in this was a lot harder to remember. Like the do-si-do part, I kept getting spun around, so I was a little slow on the do-si-do.
But you know, it was fun. It was very fun to learn all this, especially since there were so many cast members that, you know, if you mess up, it's okay. They mess up once in a while too. And it really is encouraging to get to work with people.
We definitely had our own choreography. Mrs. Hill, she definitely put a lot of effort into making distinct choreography that was unique to this performance, so I really enjoyed that.
I mean, it was fun. It was just different.
I don't know. I think it's a great musical all around.
Would change the fight scene between Judd and Curly.
Yeah, I would put, I know it's really funny as it is, but I would almost add more comedy.
Is just that it could have lasted longer.
I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. Is that bad? But the whole time, I just think Laurie is making really stupid decisions. So just, you need to have a heart to heart, girl, and you know, like, you need to get your priorities straight, if you know what I mean. Nathan's line.
Some of the placements where people stood and how things happened.
Would have done it more times, would have performed it a couple more times.
Gosh, I never think like a writer.
I think we're just gonna have to skip that one. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Rodgers and Hammerstein.
The one thing to change is do a different musical.
Do a different musical. Yeah.
I wish we could have run it a few more times. It's always more fun to have more performances.
The ending, it just ends, and I never understood that. Like, Judd dies. Okay, that's good, I guess, because the villain's out of the picture, but, like, is Curly convicted? Does he get off free? What happens? Because that trial was not legal in any way, and I know it's the West, and the things are sketchy in the West, but I still, like, it just ends, and they all sing "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning," and, like, there's no resolution, and I do not like it.
Ali Hackham's character, maybe make him a little bit more sympathetic.
I would have liked for when Caitlin and Austin, when they come out after their little escapade in the barn, I would have liked for them to be a little more disheveled looking.
Will and Ado Annie got married before, in between the scenes as well.
You know, bad guys get girls too. Just saying.
The way they put songs into musicals, it just kind of sits there and it has nothing to do with the story. It's just like, oh, here's the story, then we're going to sing a song real fast that doesn't really need to be there, but we're going to do it, and then move on with the story.
The plot lines, because the only two plot lines were basically kind of two identical ones where it's one girl, two guys pursuing struggles between that. That was kind of a little bit bland.
Probably a little more tension, or maybe another extra scene between Judd and Curly.
It would be to get a better knife for the production.
I think I might change some of the line delivery.
Maybe tone down a little bit of the risqueness for a younger audience.
I'd see if I couldn't make Curly and Laurie's story make sense. Because it doesn't make a lot of sense.
My good buddy has always wanted to say I lost the game from stage, which I did just lose the game, which stinks. But if he did not do it, then I really wanted to work it on stage at some point during this show.
Anything, because I didn't have a line, so I was always afraid to say anything that was going to mess up the play.
I'm a background person. Well, I didn't have any lines, so
yeah,
having lines.
I didn't really have any ad-libs that I was too afraid to try.
I actually tried it. For my whole time on stage at Bryan, I have constantly tried to figure out a way to fit in that I lost the game on stage, and I have never had the guts to do it, and I have never actually had a good opportunity to do it. But I happened to lose the game as we were all exiting the stage for one of the little ad-lib moments to go do the first part of the bidding. And I said, sure would be a shame if you lost that game there now, wouldn't it?
Oh, I got it actually. It was when Caleb was dancing. All of mine are about Caleb. He was the highlight of the show for me. Dancing in The Farmer and the Cowman. with Julia. And I always wanted to say, don't be too close to her, or like, don't forget you got another woman on the other side of the village, or, you know, something like that.
Definitely doing my dad bow. I worked on it really hard to try to perfect it. And it was something like, but.
So whenever a big group of people just start talking all at once, I'd be like, I want some tater tots, and just something completely random that doesn't make any sense.
You know what it was. Okay. The ad lib that I was too scared to try was having Nathan come out on stage with me and Shelby and flirt with Austin with us. I really wanted it to happen though.
I'm really bad at ad-libbing, like anything. Whenever I was in a scene with Crystal, she would just be like talking this and that, and I just would never say anything. I think finally during the last week of Tech Week, I finally added a couple like, no, Curly, watch out, something like that.
Caitlin from time to time would say Allie instead of Will, but it somehow worked because it was part of the character when she was talking to me. And there was one night I really wanted to say, she did it on stage, and nothing against her because we covered it really well. And she said Allie, and I said Allie, and I wish I would have said something else like, ain't that fella inside? What you talking about him for? Because that would have made it really funny.
I wanted to ad-lib a lot during the bidding scene when they were bidding for a lot of different things, but he got on to people so often for missing lines. I felt like if I added anything, he would like just
to send you out during All or Nothing and just see Austin's face when he sees Nathan during All or Nothing.
Throwing in some more things with when I interacted just barely with Curly and Will.
I really wanted to do the final number, like dance it, but with the knife in my gut from where I died, so, and then at the end pull it out and pass out from the pain.
I was scared to try a crazy walk, like a bouncy, crazy, stupid walk.
It would have been fun to call out in Farmer the Cowman, call the farmers some funny names. Like really loud, would have been lots of fun.
I joked about it off stage a bit, but one thing I really wanted to say was I'd bid my 2 front teeth if I had them.
One man likes to push a plow, the other likes to kiss a cow.
Caitlin's skirt. I wanted that skirt.
I can't say that there was any particular moment where I felt like there could have been a line there and there wasn't, that I didn't want to try out.
Just a major shout out to the theater department for letting me get up for one show without the experience that I probably should have had being a senior. It was so much fun, and acting alongside some of my best friends and meeting a lot of new friends just made it worth every minute and more that I put into it.
It's just a real fun show. It was a real delightful to be able to pull it all together and work with all the students.
Everybody knows this is just my favorite show. I'll never stop saying that. So it was wonderful to get to do it, but not only to get to have that experience of doing Oklahoma and play my dream role, but to do it with the people that I got to. And I just want to thank, of course, Crystal and Brian and Caleb and definitely Andrew for making those memories with me and being such a wonderful part of it.
I just wanted to say thank you to the Hilltop players and to Mr. B for giving me the opportunity to be in my first production with Bryan College, and I look forward to trying out in the future, and just thanks for welcoming me into the family. That's what I have to say.
This whole production was just really new to me because I'm a bio major and cheerleader, so I don't do theater productions. But even though I wasn't one of the theater people, I felt so welcomed and loved when I was on the set. They never talked down to me or treated me like I didn't know what I was doing. They just accepted me and loved me and helped me whenever I needed help. And I just felt like I was blessed to be a part of it with them.
It was an honor and privilege to be able to act with all the people in this production, especially for this specific production, especially with the seniors. Caleb and Crystal and Brian and Andrew, and gonna miss them a lot. And thank y'all for making the underclassmen, the newer additions to the theater department, welcome, and sharing your wisdom of how to do better acting, but then also just with life, caring about our lives too. And always keep in touch and always come back, and we're gonna miss y'all guys, but it was a great show to be able to do with y'all and before y'all are gone. So
I think everyone did a good job. The end.
I think I'd just like to say thank you to the seniors, Crystal and Caleb and Andrew and even Brian, even though this was his one and only show. It was still a lot of fun to do it with them. I'd like to say thank you to those three mainly, because they helped me a lot throughout the year, and taught me some things that I didn't know, some techniques, and it was really great working with them.
It was a good show to go out on. Had a good run while I was here, and I wasn't crazy about the thought of doing Oklahoma at first. I was more partial towards Sound of Music, and I'm a bad theater person. I'm not particularly into musicals, but I had so much fun performing this show, and it ended up being my favorite show that I've done during my time here, and just a really, really special way to go out. Getting to perform as the lead in the #1 musical in America was just such a cool opportunity. So I appreciated it.
Yes, it was when I came into rehearsal and Mr. B said, "Late as usual," and I was actually right on time. And then he said, "Well, I'll say this about Crystal. She likes to be efficient with her time, so she always gets here on time." Thanks, Mr. B. We love you, Mr. B. The end.
I think I'd like to say that Caleb Julien's an outstanding character and an outstanding man and friend. And I remember my first time doing anything in theater. I started doing it simply for the hopes of being able to see Rachel more, and hopefully being able to maybe one day kiss her on stage. Happened. And so my dreams have been completed, but my first time doing theater, I remember it was a scene for Caleb's directing class, and Grace and I were his two actors, and he said, gosh, I sucked. I mean, I'm still not that good, but man, like Caleb's patience with me, he gave me as many tips as he could, and just as a father trying to watch his son ride a bike and fall every single time, but think he was doing well. Just the patience of a warrior. Kind of guided me through, gave me some pointers, helped me come out of my shell a little bit on stage, which honestly, I don't know if he knows this, but contributed some toward doing the worship leadership and things that I do on the worship team for chapels, doing things on stage, and kind of honestly, just my social bubble in general. Kind of that time, that first time, and then kind of every time after that, that I've just gotten to be with Caleb in anything theater. He's just always been an encouragement, and I mean, has really just had an impact on my life here at the school, and in any of the things in the theater department that I've been involved with. And I know that he's been a great friend of my fiance, and so be forever grateful for him. And I was glad to be in his last show with him.
I really enjoyed being able to be in Caleb Julien's last show. He and the other seniors that are leaving, it's been a lot of fun acting with them, but Caleb Julien and I have been acting together since we were 5, back at our old church's place, and so being able to basically start his career and then end his last play at college with him, I thought that was really cool. It's just phenomenal the way that we get close. He really is a good family. I think, and there's a lot of fun that we can have now that I'm closer with several of the cast members. It brings me closer to them, and my friendships get deepened in that way. And that's true for how it was even with Caleb. I was able to become even better friends with them through it. So I think it was a really great show. I really enjoyed it. Really happy to be in, even though I came in 2 months late.
Man, it was not the show that I was expecting at all when I started this semester. But it was just so much fun to be a part. It was my first musical ever, and it was really fun to be a part of something that big. And it was so great watching my best friends do their last show in such a fun way. And Caleb and Drew and Crystal just did such a fantastic job, and I think it really pulled out some of their awesome qualities as actors. Just especially Crystal, the way that she uses moments on stage that other people might pass up, like in the auction scene when Judd comes out. One night during rehearsal, he called her Aunt Lori, and some people might just move on and it was just a mistake, it's just a dress rehearsal, we'll fix it another time. But she goes, "You want to run that by me again?" I just love the way Crystal doesn't pass up moments on stage. They're just really genuine with her, and I love that about Crystal. I'm gonna miss that so much.
This was such a fun show. I loved being in it. The cast was so wonderful. It was just such a fun process. Everybody did such a great job, and I'm so glad I got to be a part of it.
I just want to say that this production has honestly been the most fun I've ever had on a stage in my entire acting career, if you can call it that. But one of my favorite moments that happened on stage was after the curtain closed the last night. It was a very emotional time for all of us. Well, for most of us, I guess. For those of us who had been really close to the seniors, it was a very emotional time for me because that was the last time I was ever going to be on that stage with them in a production. And when the curtain closed last night, after we had all screamed the final word, the final yow, that was a great moment in itself. But after that happened, I knew it was over. And once that curtain closed, there were so many tears that were on stage. And I can remember hugging Caleb in particular, just bawling because I knew that would be the end of my time with him. And it was difficult, but it was honestly just one of those moments that I don't regret, that there were a lot of tears on that stage. And I'm very thankful that the curtain was closed and that nobody saw it, because it was, we needed that moment away from everyone in order to handle what was going on. And it was very difficult, very emotional, but it was honestly one of my favorite things because it showed how big of a family we are in the Hilltop players and how many bonds we have with one another. And it's just something about theater, putting someone on a stage, that when everybody gets together, you're going to get close to people. It's just the nature of the business. And it's something that I've really enjoyed about being a part of this production, in addition to the other ones that I've been blessed to be a part of.
I want to say thank you because I hadn't been in a musical for a while, but I really enjoyed it. So being back on stage and being back in front of an audience was just a really neat, cool experience. And I don't know, just thank you to everyone who was a part of it.
I just really enjoyed this musical. It was a lot of fun. I loved our set and our costumes. I loved everything about it.
Caleb, Julene, it was awesome getting to act with you one last time, and I wish we had a few more go-rounds at it. But I loved doing our duet together, man. Like, that was just so cool getting to end it on that note, with that note. Well, when we found the notes, but ended on those notes with you. And gonna miss you and wish you well in the future.
This is my first time really being in a theater production at Bryan as I'm a freshman. I was in the opera, but it's different than the Hilltop players and working with Mr. B and all the real theater people. And it was a lot of fun. I was a little intimidated by the idea at first, but everyone was so fun and so welcoming, and Mr. B was really fun to work with. And I actually want to get a lot more involved in the theater department now, even just acting stuff, which I never thought I would really be interested in, because again, I'm more of a musical person, more of singing. But yeah, so here's to 3 more years, and it's gonna be great.
I would just really like to thank the Hilltop players and just everyone involved with this, because this is my second production here. I'm only here for 3 semesters, and you guys have really been like a family to me. You guys were the first group that really meshed, that really let me into your group with the misanthrope, and so for continuing that on with this play with basically the entire theater and music department, it was just a really great bonding experience, for lack of a better word, just of this family that we have as the Hilltop players. And the seniors, I've only known you for a year, but it's been amazing working with you guys, especially Caleb, Julene, beloved. You've really kind of served as a mentor and helping me adjust to the newness of working in theater and just here at Bryan in general. So I'd just like to thank you all just for accepting me into your fold, if for what limited time I am here. So.
As my first musical, it was quite fun to see the mesh of different people who were really good at acting, people who were really good at singing, and people who were really good at dancing, and how we just kind of all came together and collaborated and made something really, really cool. And that last yow on the last night was really, really memorable. It was really cool.
Just to Caleb, Julian, Brian Alderman, Drew, Crystal, you're all really great actors, really great people, and I'm just so blessed to be able to work with you, but all of you. And I'm glad I got to work with you, Caleb, and you, Drew, more than once, and one last time for this, because, you're just all really influential people in my life, and it's going to be different here without you. But you taught me a lot, and I'm honored to carry on the theater torch here at Bryan. So, yeah.
Thank you all for whoever is watching this. I know I enjoyed being in this production as my last production. It was a great time for all the seniors to go together and come together and act through this. We enjoyed it, and we hope to see what comes next.
Not really. It was just fun to work with everybody and see how encouraging they all were.
Only that as far as Andrew and Crystal and Caleb are concerned, I would say that finale, that reprise that we all sing right before the curtains close, that was a fantastic note to end their time with the Hilltop players on. And Brian.
Yelled at him that night to shut up. That's embarrassing. Don't want that going off in the video.
Yow.
Yow!
I tell you what my favorite part was, getting to be in a fight, because I'm never usually in those in real life anyway, so that was pretty fun. Stage fight.
It actually does.
No, it
because
doesn't.
He sold his horse.
But everyone else has horses that they could let him borrow. No, we'll drag it ourselves.
Actually, that's my horse.
That is a hard one. He's gonna have to edit this one out. I don't know, there was something. It's coming to my brain. I got nothing. The ad lib? What does that mean?
Yow!
That's a really hard question. I'm stumped. Think about that.
You fail.
No! I would make me the star. Just kidding. You just don't understand if you're not part of something like that.
Hello.
Hello! That's exactly what I was thinking.
Hey, whoever's in charge of scheduling should be fired for that.
You told me when I said I couldn't do it right then.
I really don't know. Can we come back to that one?
You can edit all this out, right?
I will be doing that, yes.
Yeah, okay. Favorite line? Man, what are some good lines?
Fill your behind so full of buckshot.
I don't know if that's my favorite though. But yeah, what's the line? I'll just say that. What is the line when Karn says to Ali Hackham,
If you something, I'll fill your behind so full of buckshot you'll walk like a duck for the rest of your life or something like that.
okay. Okay, now I gotta pretend like you didn't just say that and I just thought of it.
Don't you know what you're doing?
No, I don't.
Some film student.
Okay. There we go. That's a wrap.